A few weeks ago, I released my most competitive deck that I've ever made, Winged Rhynos. I recently showed off on my channel me winning my locals with the deck, and then after I posted that video, I went to another locals, and then I won that one. If you want to see the updated version that I won the second locals with, maybe stick around to the end of the video. So anyway, I put out this deck to the EDISON format community, and they responded in primarily one of two ways. Some people were like, wow, that's a cool rogue competitive deck. It plays differently and it's interesting and I'm excited to see what happens with it. And then other people were like, that deck's boring, it's bad, it doesn't have a win condition, and they hated it. They did not like Winged Rhynos too much. Particularly, you might know him. Have you heard of this guy, Carpath?
Zuczid has released another abomination onto this world, and people are playing it, and it's our problem now. Okay, this is gonna have to be the last Winged Rhynos abomination we showcase on the channel. Winged Rhynos takes forever, man. These games, all right.
Apparently not a fan of Winged Rhynos. That's fair. Carpath and others like him, they say the deck is too slow. But it's a controlled deck. Winged Rhynos needs to be slow. That's what makes it good. Like, you get more value the more times you normal summon Winged Rhynos. If there's less turns, you can do less normal summons. That's just how the deck works. But, you know what? I will appease Carpath and the doubters. I'm gonna take Winged Rhynos and make it faster. That's what this episode is. Curse Tech, Fast, Chain Beat. No, that's not the name. We'll figure out a name by the end of this. And not only am I going to make it faster, but I'm going to make it an OTK deck. And you're probably thinking, how are you going to do that? Well, first of all, we're going to take out Winged Rhynos. And second of all, we're not going to special summon. This is a normal summon OTK. Behold my deck list. Look at those gadgets. Look at that special card that this whole episode is based around. Chain Summoning. This card released in Phantom Darkness is the heart and soul of this deck. It lets you get 3 normal summons per turn as long as it's activated at Chain Link 3 or above. It didn't do much at its time of release, however it did see some play in 2013 and beyond in rank 4 spam strategies. Kage Kage let gadget decks not only get an extra body on the field, but also an extra chain link. This meant that you could summon the other monster and the gadget and then chain the chain summoning, spam the field with a ton of rank 4s, even use Gear Gigant X and just go crazy, basically. It was an unbelievable OTK potential in that era. However, we are not in that era. We are stuck in EDISON format, and not only does this make this card harder to convert off of, not having rank 4s, but also it makes it harder to activate because it's harder to get to that Chain Link 3 that is necessary. First, let's talk about the conversions. In this deck, we are tribute summoning. That's how we're getting value out of our chain summoning. But we could also just summon 3 gadgets. I mean, that's not bad, but in EDISON format, that is not going to win you the game. We've gone with Iris the Earth Mother, and this card lets you draw a card after a Chain Link 3 resolves, which is pretty decent. I mean, if you can keep it on the field, you can get a lot of value out of it, but it does not have any protection, and it is a level 6. We also have Lightning Punisher. This guy lets you pop cards after a Chain Link 3 resolves and is a level 7, which kind of sucks. So those are our conversions. Let's talk about the chain links. Although it's very easy to get to Chain Link 3 if you have a chainable draw trap, you can normal summon a gadget, chain a draw trap, and then chain the chain summoning. What if you don't have any traps set? That is where the quick play spells come in. If you normal summon a gadget and then chain Offerings to the Doom, that is Chain Link 3 for your chain summoning, and you cleared a monster in the process. Something that gadgets like to do anyway. Also, we have Enemy Controller. You normal summon a gadget, Chain Link 1, Chain Link 2, Enemy Controller, tribute the gadget you just normal summoned to steal their monster, Chain Link 3, chain summoning, and hopefully you have a tribute summon to convert their monster. This gives the deck some interesting removal options that your opponent will not expect, and the fact that they all come in quick play spells helps your strategy and lets you get to those chain links you desperately need. And as you can tell, we are getting it to Chain Link 3 quite a lot. So if you have one accumulated fortune set and you do that chain summoning chain link, you just flip up accumulated fortune at the end and draw 2 cards. I mean, That's not bad. That's not bad at all. Also, we have Ultimate Offering, which is just better chain summoning. Let's get into the duels, and yeah, let's see what happens. This first game, we are up against zombies, and look at this opening hand. Iris, the Earth Mother, you know this is going to be a good game. We are going second. My opponent's just going to set a couple of cards and pass their turn, and there is the chain summoning. I wish we had a MST, like if this was MST, or if they had just had a face-up monster, we could do our big chain summoning play, but alas, we do not have it, so we're just going to normal summon a green gadget, get a red gadget, attack into the monster, and it is just a pyramid turtle, and then we are just going to set a couple of cards and pass our turn. My opponent's going to set a couple more back row and then normal summon a Mizuki and attack over our green gadget. We will take 300 damage, and then they pass back to us. We draw another gadget, which is not great, but now we can do some chain summoning shenanigans. We're going to summon a red gadget that's going to be Chain Link 1, and then we are going to activate Good Goblin Housekeeping at Chain Link 2, and then Chain Summoning at Chain Link 3, and then Chain Link 4, we can activate Accumulated Fortune. This will let us draw 2 cards first, then Chain Summoning resolves, and then we can use Good Goblin Housekeeping to draw 1 card and put 1 card on the bottom of the deck, and then we can use this red gadget to add a yellow gadget to our hand. And we now have 3 normal summons this turn. We're going to use our second normal summon on the Iris Earth Mother card. Then we are going to normal summon a yellow gadget, use its effect to add a green gadget to our hand, and then we're just going to set a couple of cards and pass our turn. I'm reading that these are battle stoppers, and so I decide not to attack, and my opponent is just going to turn this Mizuki to defense and pass their turn. We're going to normal summon a green gadget. So Chain Link 1, green gadget, Chain Link 2, Good Goblin Housekeeping, and Chain Link 3, offerings to the duelant to pop the pyramid turtle, pop that monster, draw 1 off of this Good Goblin. Just kidding, we can draw 2 because we have 1 in the graveyard. Put a card to the bottom of the deck. Use the green gadget to add a red gadget to our hand, and then we can draw 1 card. I know what you're thinking. We had to jump through a lot of hoops just to draw 1 card, but you know, we did it in the end. So we draw an enemy controller, and then we are just going to switch this lady to a defense, attack over the Mizuki, and then attack for 1400. Go to main phase 2, set a couple of cards, and pass our turn. My opponent's going to activate Instant Fusion to summon out this zombie, and then they're just going to simply go to the end phase. I think they have a Book of Life in their hand. We're going to normal summon this red gadget, and then we are going to chain a mystical space typhoon. And then we're going to activate Reckless Greed. Draw 2 cards from Reckless Greed. The MSC will pop their Mirror Force, thankfully, and then this red gadget will resolve, and we can add a gadget to our hand. And now we can draw the second card off of our Iris. So that's basically Pot of Greed. Thank you, card. We're going to go into the battle phase, attack for 1200, 1300, and 1400. We are reading that they have a deep prison, so we are just not going to attack with this Iris. Set a couple of cards and pass our turn. They're going to activate Book of Life to bring back this card, and this card cannot be destroyed by battle. Oh yeah, and on the activation of their Book of Life, we can chain some draw cards to get up to Chain Link 3, and then we just simply can draw an extra card off of this Iris the Earth Mother. Wow, we just drew 4 cards. They're going to set another back row and pass to us. We will not draw because of that Reckless Greed. We're going to activate Trap Dash Shoot, but my friend, that is another Chain Link for us. So we're going to Chain Link 2 enemy controller, Chain Link 3 chain summoning. So you can take a card out of my hand, but I am going to draw a card after that. They take the Tragodia. We're going to steal their monster, and then we get to draw 1 card, and we still have extra normal summons, so we're going to summon this Scrap Recycler. We can use it to shuffle in 3 more gadgets, because you know what we needed to do? Draw more cards. We draw the Lightning Punisher, which is incredible. We're going to tribute summon this Lightning Punisher, and they do have the bottomless trap hole. It would have been so funny if we could have popped the remaining card with this Lightning Punisher and drawn a card with the Iris, the Earth Mother. We're just going to normal summon a green gadget. This adds a red gadget to our hand, go into the battle phase, and we can get our opponent very low, and then they will deprison our Iris, and then we are just going to set a couple of cards and pass. They are going to activate this Mizuki in the graveyard in order to bring back Reaper of the Nightmare, set a back row and pass to us. We do not draw again because of the Reckless. We're going to normal summon the yellow gadget, chain enemy controller, and then chain another chain summoning. Just, you can really get chain summoning a lot in this deck. So we are going to get this green gadget, and my opponent admits defeat. GG's. Yeah, I'm gonna have to stop the duels there. Although this deck is very cool, it's not very great. I mean, my personal hell is either drawing 5 gadgets or drawing no gadgets, but if you pick up this deck, I am sure you will find many things to be frustrated about. For example, your big monsters have no protection. The only way to get value out of them is to leave them on the field and accrue that advantage over multiple turns. You never get that advantage if they are removed immediately with a bottomless trap hole. So that's not great. And the worst part, to be honest, is the fact that this OTK deck cannot OTK. Like, you summon 3 gadgets, and that is not even close. Even if you enemy controller steal one of their monsters, that monster needs to be crazy big. So instead, you're just committing to putting a lot of guys on the field and doing like 4,000 or 5,000 damage, and then dying on the crackback. And if that sounds fun to you, that could be good, but to me, it sounded like I lost a lot of games because I lost a lot of games. I will say WDNR and I talked about Iris in the Garden version of the Rhinos deck. Not only does that have a lot more chain links, but it's easier to tribute summon using the Garden token. So, I mean, it could be more viable in that version, but Garden scares me, and the whole point of this episode was the deck was too slow, so yeah, I'm not going to put Garden in the deck. So for now, I'm going to put this deck in. If these are like your favorite childhood cards, maybe this is a route to go about making them slightly better. But wait, we're not done yet. Although I think Iris and Lightning Punisher are not that great, it does not mean I don't think Chain Summoning is. That card is good, and I am not done exploring it, so for the first time, we're doing a double feature. We're exploring this card a bit further, and it just so happens to slot into a strategy that is already kind of good: Machina gadgets. Behold my Chain Summoning Machina gadget deck list. This deck, on the other hand, man, this deck is so cool. Like the gadgets, Gear Frame gets value on normal summon. It is a chain link, and it is insane with Ultimate Offering. Ultimate Offering is great when the monsters you summon are getting value, so you can just like summon a bunch of gadgets, summon a bunch of Gear Frames, summon a bunch of Fortress. You can just OTK so easily with this deck. It's insane. Also, I'm kind of loving the one of Dark Dust Spirit in this deck. Not only is it really good with Chain Summoning, but I mean, Ultimate Offering during your opponent's battle phase to summon the Dark Dust Spirit, I don't know, kind of crazy. Also, spirit monsters get really good when you start having multiple normal summons, so maybe there's like a spirit version of the deck I have to explore. I don't know. So yeah, let's explore this version of Chain Summoning too. This episode's going to be so long, let's get into the duels. It is time for my Machina gadget OTK Chain Summoning deck, and look at this opening hand. It's such a cool opening hand. I can't even believe it. I'm so excited. I'm going to normal summon a red gadget. This will add the yellow gadget to my hand, and then we're just going to set 2 back row and pass our turn. We would get pretty blown out by Heavy Storm, but they don't have it. They won't have it. They're going to set 3 back row and pass to us. We're going to normal summon yellow gadget, Chainlink 1. Then we're going to activate this Good Goblin Housekeeping, Chainlink 2. Chain Summoning, Chainlink 3, and Accumulated Fortune, Chain Link 4. This deck is so cool because you're getting the chain links out of this chain summoning, so you can play less draw cards. Like, oh my god, Accumulated Fortune in this version of the deck it's so incredible. So we're going to go backwards. We're going to draw 2 cards. We get 3 normal summons, and then we're going to draw 1 card and put 1 card on the bottom of our deck, and then we're going to use this yellow gadget to add a green gadget to our hand. We've already normal summoned once in the yellow gadget, so we're going to use our second normal summon on the green gadget. This will add another gadget to our hand. We're going to normal summon a red gadget. We're going to add another gadget, and then we are just going to go into the battle phase because they have 3 back row, and I don't think I need to summon this Fortress quite yet because I just honestly did not think any of this would go through, but it did. And even if it didn't go through, like, we have 6 cards in hand. Like, we're fine. Like, 4 monsters, and we're in a fine spot still. My opponent's going to special summon a Cyber Dragon, but you know what we can do is we can chain enemy controller on the summon, attributing our gadget to steal their Cyber Dragon, and then let it go back to them in the end phase. And do you have anything? No? Well, I mean, what a series of events. What an incredible duel. But guess what? We've got game number 2. Our opening hand looks really good. I really like Scrap Recycler in this version of the deck. Like, if you're going through that many gadgets, you need Scrap Recycler. We're just going to set a couple of back row and pass our turn. My opponent's going to normal summon a Shining Angel. We take this 1400 damage, and then we are going to MST the back row, and it was a Magic Cylinder. Based. A very based card by my opponent, but now my opponent may or may not just be dead because we have gadgets plus Ultimate Offering plus Gear Frame, which is an absurd amount of damage. We're going to just keep normal summoning a bunch of gadgets. We're then going to summon this Gear Frame. This will get the Fortress. We then summon this last gadget. This will add the green gadget. And then we just tribute summon the Machina Fortress. I summon this guy, activate enemy controller to steal their monster. And then we are just going to go into the battle phase, and they are just dead. Let's go. Machina gadgets, OTK. I told you guys this was an OTK episode. OTKs are happening. Normal summon OTKs. There was no special summoning during that turn. Although we didn't get to see any Dark Dust Spirit shenanigans, the deck felt very powerful. You can OTK out of nowhere. It slightly is better into Royal Oppression because you're mainly doing normal summons. I also just love that you can just tribute summon Machina Fortress easily in this deck. The Scrap Recycler is great. The enemy controller and offerings are such interesting, like, quick play interactions that your opponents will not expect. It gives the Machina deck a little bit more of spice, a little bit something crazy to just throw at your opponent, and maybe it's good. I haven't had too much time to explore it. I am going to put it in a powerful cardboard for now. I see some real potential in this strategy, and maybe next week will be about exploring this strategy further, but I'm just really impressed with Chain Summoning. That card, looking at it, it looks okay, but I think with the quick play shell and the gadgets, there is something interesting there. I love these strategies that are just in between what people normally play. The Winged Rhynos, for example, is that. This is that as well. You are normal summoning a bunch of times. It's basically like an OTK normal summon deck that doesn't really exist. So let's explore, let's try to figure it out and try to make it better. But wait, we are still not done. Remember when I said I would feature my updated Rhinos deck list? Let's talk about, I could talk about Rhinos any day. I love Winged Rhynos. Yeah, so I won another locals and I tried out a Gravekeeper engine. Threw in the Spies and Descendant over the gadgets, and I gotta say, it felt a lot better. I mean, Descendant is great to clear back row or maybe a dupe frog that is sitting around by tributing the Spy. Also, it's really great with the whole ideology of the deck. If you have a 2k wall yourself, well then your opponent needs to commit into something to get over that wall, and then your D-Prisons and your offerings become a lot better when you're getting rid of bigger threats. So I really like the concept. It makes the deck a little bit, you gotta get lucky. Like a Caius on the Spy is really gonna hurt, but I think it's in a good direction, and I think if you all are testing Rhinos, maybe throw in the Spies and try it out. I think it's an interesting engine, and I think it is the way to go moving forward. And last thing, I still think Winged Rhynos control is better than the Chain Summoning deck, but that's just me. It's a control deck. It's supposed to be slow. Thank you guys for watching, and yeah, I will see you in the next one.